Guys? You guys have done everything on Can C you can do on Can C. Now here's the good part. Every other bus is the same. So after lunch, we're going to talk about interior high speed. But I'm going to focus on PowerNet. Is that fair? Mm-hmm. Because I'm going to tell you in advance, interior high speed is exactly what you just did. So in other words, you would have just used two different pins, but you would have done the same thing. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So you did a great job on all these activities yesterday and today. I'm not going to repeat too much of that. What I'm going to do is focus on the newer stuff. That okay with everybody? Yep. Good. Very good. So we were able to hook up the tool. Now, this group here, okay, so Brian, you guys could just use the small box, yes? And you got exactly, I'm sure, what you expected to get. You guys hooked up the larger box. Can we agree that is nice?
That's nice. Yeah. That's nice.
There are two different size adapters for the box, depending on which controller you have. John's teaching diesel engine. Chris, any questions?
I'm good.
Very good, yes. Okay, so if I touch anything on the car, the bus wakes up. Here's something you might not know. If you take a brand new car, this one, or that 200, and you leave the key in it, it can run the battery down.
Just in it.
Just in it.
Not in the run
Car
position.
off or anything.
Just in it.
Because, Nick, it keeps the bus awake. So you guys know that when I close the door, I walk away from the car, the bus will go to 0. If the key is in it, it thinks that you are still in it. So we have customers that will leave their keys in their car, and it makes their battery dead. Something to watch out for. Chris?
What if it's a push to start and you just leave the key in the seat?
It will run the battery down.
It was still in
Not at work, at home.
when it sits for a long time?
I park my car in my garage, drive it once a week. To the grocery store, it'll run my battery down. When you test it, it will test fine. So you've got to keep that in your mind. Okay? We had a problem car from the factory. They dropped the key at the assembly plant and couldn't find it. And it went down under the carpeting. So they programmed another key and shipped the car. Mm-hmm. When it arrived at the dealership, the battery was dead. Let me see if I can show you something real quickly.
I got a question.
Yes,
If it's shorted to positive, I mean, in that sense, would it drain the battery as well?
it is possible. Yeah, it is possible, David. So when we jumped into battery power, it is possible. Anything that you do to make the computers stay awake is going to pull battery power. Right? Okay, let me explain this. I pulled up a car here, and I'm going to go to the radio frequency hub.
Why did it go from wireless control module to radio frequency hub? It's 2012 up for RF hub, I think, yeah.
It's simply an update, Nate.
Oh.
It's a faster computer.
That's computer, okay.
And it's what we use on PowerNet. Good question. I'm going to pull up the radio frequency hub. Under the radio frequency hub, when you go to miscellaneous functions on new cars, that one, the 200, there is now an option to find keys automatically. You know when you lose your cell phone, you call it with somebody else's phone to find out where it's at? Well, this now has an option on the new cars to be able to locate keys inside the car. And it will tell you it's in the passenger compartment, it's in the trunk, it's outside. Yes, sir.
Is that what they used to find the key in the other car?
It was. And it drove them nuts, Louis, because it said there is another key inside this passenger compartment. They pulled the seats up. They did everything you could imagine, including pulling the dashboard back.
But minus the carpet.
They finally, the way they found it, I talked to the tech on the phone. They took the center console and shifter assembly out. And it had dropped right there where the carpet is cut. And he saw like a lump, and he raised it up. And this probably took a week and a half of tearing that car apart. It was, they weren't happy. No. So please, please bear that in mind. Find out how much the car is driven. We have people that go back up north, right? So Greg goes back up north. He has me start his car once a month. I go over there, the battery's dead. I have it towed to the dealership. Josh looks at it. Everything's working perfectly. If it has the push button start, tell your customers, don't leave the keys in there. It keeps the bus active. Does that make sense, guys?
But that's only with the push button start?
Yes, sir.
So the regular key fob that goes in don't matter?
Won't matter. Yep,
That's just no.
correct. Good. Outstanding job, guys. I mean, really well done. This afternoon, let's focus our time on PowerNet, PowerNet diagnostics, PowerNet lookup, and then we'll call it a day about the same time as yesterday. Danny,
How do you check if you have another key in the car?
you have to use this right here,
Which one?
Which one?
the radio frequency hub.
Which-
When you come into the RFH, the radio frequency hub, on any of the new cars, this is not a new car.
Okay.
On any of the new cars, if you go under miscellaneous functions, there is an option here that says locate learned keys.
Oh, okay, alright.
And when you click on it, it will tell you there is one key in the trunk. There is one key in the passenger compartment. You can put a key on top of the left rear tire, and it will tell you there is a key outside rear left.
How precise is it with the interior? What it says?
It's not, Louis, and that's the problem.
Oh, okay.
When it says interior, it means front glass to back glass, and it's up to you to find it. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Good questions, guys. Are my answers making sense?
Well, you said before, the car said it was in the passenger compartment. Does it break down driver, passenger, rear?
It does not. It does not.
Okay.
Literally, when it says passenger compartment, it means the cabin, front glass to back glass.
Okay.
Could be passenger, driver, Josh, front, back seat, floorboard, stuck to the ceiling.
Okay.
Zach, you got all your questions answered out there? Because you had some good ones. Okay, let's go to lunch. Be back at 12:45. And we'll get to the last section.